How does private equity make their money? So for those of you that have heard of private equity, or maybe you've seen some statistics recently about the large percentage of companies in the United States that are now owned by private equity, here is a brief rundown of how private equity firms make their money. So it really boils down to two different ways. The first way is through a management fee, and the second way is through carried interest. So first and foremost, a private equity firm will raise money from what's called limited partners. And these most of the time are wealthy individuals, or they could be pension plans or institutions. So they'll raise that money, they'll use those funds to then purchase a business, and they'll typically hold that business for about 3 to 7 years. What they are doing when they own that business might be potentially laying people off. They might be looking to make mergers and acquisitions or add-on acquisitions to that business. Most of the time, they'll have a board seat on the board of directors for that company, or they may bring somebody in to help with operations. So while they are doing all this, like I mentioned, they're making their money in one of two ways. So the first way is through that management fee. So management fee typically runs between 1.5% to 2% annually. And what they're doing is they're using the money that they raised and they're charging that 1.5% to 2% fee on the amount of money that they raised. So they're getting money on an ongoing basis for doing those things, like I'd mentioned, looking to scale the firm, looking to reduce costs, looking to grow revenue. So they're doing that on an ongoing basis and they're collecting their management fee. And then the second fee, that occurs at the time of an exit. So for many of you, you may realize the term that most private equity firms are under is they're looking to, again, like I said, purchase these companies, fix them up, scale them, and sell them at a much higher multiple. So the second fee is called carried interest. And carried interest simply means it's a percentage that the private equity firm keeps at the time of an exit. And most of the time, the percentage that they keep is solely based off of the gain amount. So if you were to buy a company for $5 million and you sell that company for $10 million, they may keep a 20% carried interest charge on those profits. So commonly, back in the day, they would refer to it as 2 and 20, meaning that 20% carried interest, they're taking that away from the gains. One of the things that they may have in there is called a hurdle rate, where they need to meet a certain rate of return first before they can then apply their carried interest fee on top of that. So for those of you that may be a little bit confused or wondering how, if you invest with the private equity firm, how exactly they are getting paid, one, it's through that ongoing management fee of the business. And then two, at an exit, they're able to take that carried interest percentage out of their profits.